Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the place where stories breathe, legends rise, and the magic behind Hollywood's greatest journeys unfolds like never before. Today, I want to take you on a long, emotional, inspiring walk through the extraordinary life of a man whose voice alone can calm storms, whose presence lights up the darkest screen, and whose journey shows us what resilience, hope, and unshakable belief truly look like. I am talking about none other than Morgan Freeman, the man, the legend, the storyteller of our generation. When you hear that deep, warm, powerful voice, something inside you feels grounded, almost like the world slows down just for a moment. But behind that voice, behind the calm wisdom that seems to wrap every scene he touches, lies a life shaped by struggle, passion, determination, and the kind of quiet courage that builds legends one day at a time. Morgan Freeman's story does not begin in a glamorous Hollywood mansion, nor inside a family already connected to fame or entertainment. His beginnings were humble, so humble that most people would never imagine that someone from such circumstances could rise to become one of the most respected figures in the world. He was born on June 1, 1937, in Memphis, Tennessee, into a childhood marked by movement, uncertainty, and difficulty. His parents didn't have much, and life pulled him from place to place, sometimes living with family members because there simply wasn't enough to go around. But sometimes the strongest light comes from the darkest corners. Sometimes the greatest voices are born from silence, and sometimes the greatest storytellers begin as ordinary children simply trying to find their place. Even as a young boy, Morgan found himself drawn to the power of imagination. He would sit quietly and watch the world, absorbing every detail, every emotion, every expression. He wasn't a child who demanded the spotlight. In fact, he liked being calm, observant, and thoughtful. And although he didn't know it at the time, these qualities would one day become the foundation of a legendary acting career. But life had its own twists prepared for him. At the age of 12, Morgan did something unexpected: he acted. It was not a professional stage, not a polished set, but a school production where he was simply supposed to participate. Yet the moment he stepped into a character, he felt something awaken inside him. Something powerful, something alive. The audience laughed, cried, connected, and young Morgan felt, for the first time, the magic of storytelling flowing through him. But the world doesn't hand out dreams easily. And Morgan Freeman's journey was anything but smooth. Even though he had talent, he didn't chase acting right away. Life pushed him in a different direction. He joined the United States Air Force, where he worked as a radar technician. He had once dreamed of becoming a fighter pilot, imagining the power of flying above the clouds, racing through the sky. But once he sat in a cockpit and felt the reality of it, he realized the dream didn't match the feeling. Something inside him said, "This isn't it. This isn't where I belong." And that moment of honesty led him back to the passion he had tried to leave behind: acting. But acting isn't easy when you're starting from zero. No connections, no money, no guarantee of success. Morgan moved to Los Angeles, then to New York, then back again, trying to find a place where he could breathe life into characters. He worked odd jobs, took small roles, and often lived close to the edge. Imagine the frustration: having talent, having passion, but running into closed doors, day after day, year after year. But this man was built differently. Where others would have broken, where others would have walked away, he stayed. Patient. He kept learning. He kept working. He kept showing up. Years passed. Not months. Years. And Hollywood still didn't open its doors. Most people become famous in their 20s or 30s. But Morgan Freeman, no. His story is the definition of, it's never too late. He didn't get his major breakthrough until his 50s. Yes, his 50s. Think about that. 5 decades of life. 5 decades of struggle. 5 decades of believing in yourself even when the world doesn't see you yet. His first major recognition came through his powerful, emotionally charged role in Street Smart. He played a character so intense, so unforgettable, that people couldn't ignore him anymore. Suddenly, critics were talking about him. Audiences were noticing him. Hollywood was finally paying attention. And that performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination. The world finally said, "Who is this man?" Not knowing that greatness had been waiting patiently in the shadows. But it was only the beginning. After that, Morgan Freeman delivered performances that touched the hearts of millions. He had the unique ability to express strength without shouting, wisdom without preaching, and emotion without exaggeration. He became known for his calm presence, his steady manner, and most of all, that iconic voice that feels like a warm embrace for the soul. And then came one of the most unforgettable films ever created, The Shawshank Redemption. A film that didn't just entertain people, but healed them, inspired them, and stayed with them forever. Morgan Freeman's portrayal of Red wasn't just acting, it was a masterpiece. A quiet, powerful performance that taught the world about hope, perseverance, friendship, and the human spirit. Even today, decades later, countless viewers say that Shawshank changed their lives, and much of that magic came from Morgan's storytelling. Then came roles that solidified him as one of Hollywood's greatest. Driving Miss Daisy, Say 7N, Bruce Almighty, $1 Million Baby, Invictus, Glory, the list stretches across genres, decades, generations. One moment, he's a wise mentor guiding a hero. The next, he's a flawed, complex character facing inner demons. Then, suddenly, he's the voice of God in a comedy that made the whole world laugh. And the incredible thing is, he made every one of those characters feel real, grounded, and deeply human. Hollywood loved him, audiences adored him, and awards followed, an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and many others. But if you ask Morgan Freeman what truly defines him, it's not the trophies. It's not the fame. It's the journey, the patience, the years of hard work when no one was watching. The belief that time doesn't decide your destiny, your determination does. But what makes Morgan Freeman even more extraordinary is that he never let success change who he was. He remained humble, thoughtful, wise, and deeply connected to storytelling. He used his voice not just to act, but to inspire. He narrated documentaries that opened our minds, stories that touched our hearts, and messages that reminded us of our shared humanity. His life teaches us that no matter where you begin, no matter how late it feels, your moment can still come. You can still rise. You can still shine. Morgan Freeman is living proof that age does not define your dreams, your persistence does. But let's go deeper. Let's dive into the emotional roots that make his story so powerful, so relatable. Imagine being told, no, for decades. Imagine watching others get roles you know you could play. Imagine working small parts while struggling to pay bills. Imagine being invisible in an industry obsessed with youth and fame. Now imagine still believing in yourself through all of that. That is Morgan Freeman. He didn't explode into fame overnight. He built his craft slowly, brick by brick, experience by experience, scene by scene. He performed in theater, television, small roles, children's shows, anything that allowed him to grow. He refused to quit, because his love for acting was bigger than the pain of rejection. His story also reminds us that some people bloom later, not because they lack talent, but because their destiny requires a longer journey. Some stars shine only when the night is darkest. Some legends take time to grow. Morgan's emotional resilience became the secret behind his performances. When he speaks in a film, he's not just acting, he's drawing from real struggle, real hardship, real life. That's why his roles feel honest. That's why his words hit so deeply. That's why people feel connected to him, even without ever meeting him. And then there's his voice. That golden, unmistakable voice that has narrated countless documentaries, films, and inspirational stories. A voice that feels like truth. Like calm. Like wisdom passed down through generations. Many people say Morgan Freeman could read the phone book and still make it sound profound. And maybe that's true, but the deeper truth is that the power of his voice comes from the life behind it. A life carved from persistence, shaped by reality, and lifted by hope. But beyond the movies, beyond the voiceovers, beyond the awards, Morgan Freeman is a man who values compassion, understanding, and unity. He has spoken openly about human equality, about dignity, about the importance of listening to one another. He believes that storytelling can bring people together, and he has used his platform to encourage empathy rather than division. That is what makes him great, not just his talent, but his heart. In a world full of noise, Morgan Freeman became an anchor. In a world full of chaos, he became a calm presence. In a world full of doubt, he became a reminder that even the slowest journeys can lead to greatness. Even today, well into his 80s, he continues to work, continues to inspire, continues to show the world that passion does not age. He still takes roles, still lends his voice to important stories, still motivates millions. He is not slowing down, he is evolving, growing, contributing. His legacy is not just in the films he acted in. His legacy is in the millions of people who found hope in his story. People who were ready to quit but didn't. People who thought their time had passed but realized it hadn't. People who needed someone to remind them that greatness comes in many forms, at many ages, in many unexpected ways. Morgan Freeman's journey is a reminder to anyone watching this that your story is not over. Your age does not define your potential. Your past does not limit your future. Your humble beginnings do not trap you, they prepare you. And sometimes, the most incredible chapters of your life start when you least expect them. If you're feeling lost, if you're feeling late, if you're feeling like success is happening for everyone but you, let Morgan Freeman's life remind you that the universe runs on its own schedule. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. Your time will come if you keep showing up, keep trying, keep believing, and keep building. Morgan Freeman didn't just become a Hollywood icon. He became a symbol of patience, grace, consistency, and emotional depth. A man who taught the world that dreams are not defined by age, but by endurance. And that is why his story belongs here on Nation of Glory. Because this channel celebrates the people who change the world not through luck, but through perseverance. The legends who remind us what humanity can be: strong, hopeful, compassionate, and endlessly creative. So, as we close this long journey through the life of this extraordinary man, let's carry his lessons with us. Let's remember that every voice matters, every dream matters, every journey matters. Let's remember that even the quietest beginnings can lead to the loudest legacies. Thank you for staying with us through this emotional, inspiring story of Morgan Freeman. If you enjoyed this narrative and want more powerful Hollywood journeys, make sure you subscribe to Nation of Glory, hit that like button to support our work, and share this video with someone who needs a little hope today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story. Keep believing, keep dreaming, and keep rising.